Hey guys, well, now you know about the word anthropomorphism, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I just want to tell you a little bit about my history with homes and car and what they mean to me and why I'm even making this post. When my first husband and I were first married, we built a home together, and that was on a street called Sage, and that was in Wyoming. And this home was really special to us because it was our first home together. We did a lot of work. We learned a lot about construction and building a home, but we also learned a lot about building like our family home and what it meant to just have a really strong family unit. And that came after a lot of years of turmoil and difficulty and trial in my life through divorce and difficult custody issues. And so that house was just really meaningful to us. It was a place of rest. I looked up the word sage to find out what the original meaning was, and it means safe or safety. And that home definitely was a safe place for us. And there's a lot of really cool stories around that. So then the next home that we bought together was when we moved away to Sandpoint later, and that was Ella. And these houses have these names because these are the streets that they were on, and so those were just the names that we called them. So the next one was Ella, and these houses did have like a feminine spirit to them, and to be honest with you, the three houses I'm telling you about, they felt like our mothers. I mean, at some really difficult times in our lives for different reasons, these houses took us in and just surrounded us with love and security and safety and happiness and peace. So we kind of felt like these homes were our mothers, and both of us by this time had lost our mothers, and so it was, easy to be looking for some place that we felt comforted, and we felt this in our homes. And we ended up having to sell them for various reasons. But anyway, the meaning of the word Ella is all or completely. And that's interesting because Ella is the house we moved into shortly after I wrote a book about God's love being big enough for everyone or for all. And so the meaning of that word over those next few years while I lived in Ella just opened up to me. And another meaning of Ella is torch or bright light. And as the meaning of God's love, unfailing love, took hold in my life, I just felt such a strong sense of a bright light on my path and the ability to question everything and to just be really free and to live in questions. And so a lot of progress happened in my spirituality over that time. And then the third house that we lived in was Crystal, and this was on a street named Crystal, just like the other two. And I just have to say about Crystal that the other two houses required that we have a lot of give and take. Like, when we built Sage, we had to put a lot of our own blood, sweat, and tears into it. Sage definitely gave back, but same with Ella. We made a lot of positive changes and a lot of give and take there. But when we moved into Crystal, it was a time in our lives when we didn't have a lot to give, and we had a lot of other things going on. Like for me, a new nursing career and nursing school, and my husband had a lot of things going on too. And the thing about Crystal is it was the mother or the house that didn't require anything of us. It was basically we were able to take and not have to give a lot back. So that was just a really beautiful time. A really interesting thing about these houses that I want to tell you about that we didn't realize at the time, it was when we were living in the last house on Crystal, looking back, is that they had some really interesting numbers. So the first one was 28 Sage, so 28 Sage, and then it was 822 Ella, and then it was 282 Crystal. And we seriously didn't plan any of that, but it just did seem very much like these homes were like a divine provision for us that nurtured us at a beautiful time. So you can understand why we referred to them as as women by their names, and they felt very alive and welcoming to us. So enter Bluebell. So Bluebell is my 2008, and notice 2008. It's actually a 2007, but we bought it in 2008. It's a blue Subaru, and I didn't really start talking to Bluebell until the last couple of years, but I just started to be really grateful about this car, and I started feeling like it was a person that took care of me, because I have been through so much with this car. I mean, I drove back and forth to Wyoming in nursing school, and then when I started my new nursing career, it was an hour away from my home, and I commuted all the time. Rain, snow, wind, hail, you name it. I was commuting through these terrible conditions, and that car has always been so faithful and so reliable. And I just feel like it's always taken care of me. It's just been this really steady, reliable presence in my life. And so now you understand a little bit more about anthropomorphism and why I have such a gratitude for these things in my life that have been such significant parts of my becoming process and feeling loved and nurtured and taken care of and made safe. So don't think that I'm ready for the psych unit. I'm not. I'm just exercising my spirit of gratitude. So keep reading, and you'll find out a little bit more about why this is kind of a cool thing to do. So thank you for listening.